I think a lot of times we see being an empath as a detriment, as a challenge, right? I'm an energy sponge. I pick up all this negative energy around me. You are, as an empath, here's the beautiful part, you are an amplifier of energy. We are here, I believe, to be the people who are generating the energy rather than being a sponge. What I like to do is teach empaths how to be on offense as opposed to being on defense.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the podcast Fly with Mel. I use this podcast to talk about all the personal development that we can get by living far from home. I tell some stories, but most of the time I invite people that I meet along the way to share their own. This podcast is an open door to the world because I truly believe that everyone you meet has something to teach you. So I invite you to take a seat and enjoy the flight. Hi everyone. So today I'm with Kesley Tweed, the founder of Iron Gypsy Coaching and the Empowered Unpack Collective and astrologer. It's a lot of things, but hello and welcome, Kesley.
Hi, Mel. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm so grateful to be here today.
I'm so excited about this podcast and thank you for accepting this opportunity. Just to give a bit of context, you are talking to us from where now?
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, in the US.
In the US, and I'm in Sydney, Australia. So this is just amazing to see that thanks to technology, we can just gather people. And to give you the little story, we've met on Instagram, like very, very randomly. And yeah, I'm very excited about what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to deep dive into different subjects such as empathy, but also energies, spirituality, manifestation, a bunch of things. So thank you again, Kesley. I like to start my podcast just getting to know a bit more the person I have as a guest. So can you just introduce yourself? Tell us maybe 3 things that define you first.
Wow. Okay. 3 things that define me. So you mentioned this earlier, but I am a life coach, an astrologer, and I founded something called the Empowered Empath Collective. And what's important to know about that is all of these modalities are tools that I practice, but they are tools that are very meaningful to me. And what I do now is I've incorporated what I learned on my journey from a place of a lot of lack of confidence, a lot of self-doubt, anxiety, just really being hard on myself, people pleasing, and the things that I learned along the way to move through that. Certainly there are still moments where there are challenges, right? But I'm in a much stronger, more empowered place. And so now I feel very called and inspired to share what I've learned on my journey with other people who are moving through similar challenges in life and really just want to feel better, right? A lot of it is about emotional alignment and confidence and walking in your light and falling in love with who you are. So that's what lights me up. And I think that's what's most important to know.
I love that. It's full of love. And I'm just wondering who was the Kesley before all of this, before finding all of this light?
Yeah. Well, a little bit about me. I guess I'll attempt to keep it as short as possible, but I grew up in a really small town in North Dakota. So I'm a farm girl and, just grew up in a really tight-knit community and always felt like I didn't quite know where I fit, didn't quite know who I was. In small communities, it tends to be very, very tight knit, as I said. And so there is sort of an expectation or a norm per se. And I always had this kind of call within me that there was something deep and spiritual and this desire to really explore the world and learn what else was out there. And so that was part of kind of what pulled me forward from that space. But with that, there was a lot of, as I said, people pleasing, self-doubt. I mean, I was truly someone who was a perfectionist. So very young in my life, I struggled a lot with things like accepting my body and, having to have straight A's when I was in school and, attempting to be the best in sports. And then that sort of spiraled. I went through a divorce And that created a lot more kind of self-doubt and brought up a lot of other feelings and things and healing that I needed to do. Kind of went into the corporate world, same thing, stress, burnout, anxiety, relationships continued to be a challenge, continued with the body image issues, started doing fitness competitions. So this whole journey really brought me to this space of, I don't want to do life in this place of heaviness anymore. Like, this is too much. I can no longer, and it's not that it was terrible, right? There was nothing externally that was awful in my life. It was all my own internal stuff that I needed to work through, my own unlayering of conditions and beliefs and limitations and pain and hurt and just energy that needed to be released and worked through. And so over time, as I worked with many of the modalities that I do now, such as Reiki and astrology and meditation, and went on this spiritual journey that literally took me around the world, was like slowly, layer by layer, I started to release what wasn't me, began to release the limitations and the beliefs and the emotions that I no longer wanted to live in, and truly began to find that place of truth and authenticity, and use the word love, right? That place of that core of love that I truly believe resides in each of us when we go on that inner journey. So that's, I started like a lot of us do. I think we all have challenges in life, and it's been a journey, but I'm really, really grateful for all the people I've met, the things that I've learned, and now being in a space where I can share this with others.
And help others the way that, to just empower themselves the way that you've empowered yourself. But wow, that's amazing. I feel like you've lived already 100 lives.
It does feel like that. Sometimes I look at my life and I'm like, wow, I'm working on a book right now, actually. And I'm like, wow, there are a lot of chapters that could go into this book, because it has been, a real amazing journey from, like I said, small town, North Dakota, to Houston, Texas, which is another big city here in the US, to traveling for 2 years, and now here in Atlanta, Georgia, and lots of places in between. But like I said, just amazing people and insights and opportunities along the way that I'm so grateful for.
That's amazing. You were saying that you finally discovered your truth. Did you have any external help? Did you have any life coach or people around you who helped you and guided you?
Oh, that's a great question. So I mentioned that my journey, my body, and making peace with feeling good in my body, was a big part of my journey. And I'm incredibly grateful, because one of the trainers, the coaches, fitness coaches that I had in my life, was very pivotal for me. His name's James. Maybe he'll listen to this. He really opened me up to I believe health is the foundation, right? Is the foundation. Our physical body is the vessel that carries us through life. So a big turning point for me was when I made peace with my body, and I started strength training. I began to eat healthier. So that really was a foundation, but he also opened up a lot of these other modalities. He introduced me to personal development and self-development. Tony Robbins has been a big pivotal figure in my journey, mentor in my journey. I've been to different events that opened me up. And then things kind of evolved from there. I got very much into meditation and transcendental meditation, spent some time in India, Thailand, other places, just going deeper into that, which, came into learning Reiki. My Reiki teacher, Yolanda, has been amazing. I had an astrology teacher who is just, Adrian is her name, who has so many people. I don't even want to start naming off names, but I think that's something to leave people with today, right? Is so many times we want to be strong. We want to do it all ourselves, but there are many people out there who've been on the road that we've been on. I know when I was going through my spiritual awakening, for example, my Reiki teacher, she kept telling me, like, just keep going. I've been where you've been. I've had those nights and those moments where you're just in tears and you're wondering, like, how do I move through this? How do I get through this? And she really was inspiring to me and helped and guided me. And, that's I think, again, a big message for people is you don't have to do it alone. Reach out, ask for help, find experts, find people who inspire you, whether it's a real life coach or a podcast or a YouTube video, an online course, a book, whatever it is. there are many beautiful souls in this world who can help and guide us.
True. Yeah, it's true. That's beautiful. And we have so many tools as we are doing right now. Just technology can help so many people out there. As you were saying, maybe just take one step at a time and don't think that you have to do it all alone. Stay open and stay open to other people. And I know that you are helping so many people now, thanks to your journey, and you just empower new people to find their truth and to believe in themselves, etc. I know that you're the founder of the Empowered Empath Collective. First thing first, can you just tell us what is an empath and how do you know that you are an empath?
Yes. So my quick, easy definition of an empath is someone who is more sensitive to the energy, emotions, and expectations of other people. So this shows up differently for each of us, right? Some people really are sensitive to energy. They're sensitive to that vibration. When you walk into a room, you can kind of feel the vibration of that room, right? Emotion. So those people who are empathic on an emotional sense, they feel what other people are feeling. It might be difficult for you to watch the news, or if you're around friends and they're sharing things that are difficult for them, you feel that level of responsibility, not just the feeling of it, right? But I think a lot of empaths actually take it to the next level, which is I feel responsible for helping bring this person out of that emotion, right? And then the other one that I think isn't talked about as much in the empath community is feeling the expectations of other people. And this is a lot of, before I really recognized that I was sensitive to the energy and the emotions piece, how this showed up for me and a lot of the empaths that I coach is the people pleasing, the perfection, the anxiety, because you're continuously attempting to understand, well, what is this person thinking? How might they react if I do this? What do I need to do to be loved and accepted? And essentially part of that, right, it is being sensitive to expectations, but it's also emotional and energetic sensitivity, because what are we attempting to do when we people please? We don't, because we feel and we're so sensitive to those energy and emotions, we want to buffer ourselves from that, right? So we're like, what do I need to do to ensure that I don't have to feel the disappointment from this person because it hurts at such a deep, deep level? So that's kind of like the quick, easy definition. But essentially other traits that I see in empaths that are absolutely amazing. Like that's why I named the name of my group, the Empowered Empath Collective, because I think a lot of times we see being an empath as a detriment, as a challenge, right? I'm an energy sponge. I pick up all this negative energy around me. You are, as an empath, here's the beautiful part, you are an amplifier of energy. We are here, I believe, to be the people who are generating the energy rather than being a sponge. What I like to do is teach empaths how to be on offense as opposed to being on defense. So bringing your vibration to a point where it's so powerful and strong and you're walking in your light that you're owning the energy, you're creating the energy, you're owning the room rather than absorbing it, right? So other traits, again, you're an amplifier of energy. You're an amazing manifester if you're an empath, whether you know it or not. You're incredibly creative. Anyone who's in a relationship with you, whether it's a friend or a partner or whatever, a coworker, is incredibly blessed because empaths are the most loving, giving people there are. And then the other big one is most of the time, empaths feel very called to a higher purpose. And sometimes I don't want to steal the light or the sensitivity that we have from about energy or emotions or expectations of others holds empaths back from walking in that purpose. So that's part of what I do as well, is help them turn the light all the way up, turn their internal light all the way up, walk in their magic, walk in their purpose. Most of the time, empaths on a deep down level, on a soul level, know what that purpose is. They're just not quite ready to walk confidently in it. So those are a few of the indicators of an empath, as I like to say.
Wow. And okay, wow, that's a lot of beautiful things as an empath. As an empath myself, I'm feeling like very powerful, but it's totally true. And so many times we know our gut is telling us that there is another purpose or something else for us, but we are very afraid of, as you said, what people will think about this, what people will think about us, are we liked by others, etc., etc. Do you have like 2 or 3 things that you could give to empaths to just not take their light off, I would say, and keep their energy up?
Wow. Okay. That's beautiful. Okay. So the number one thing that's super important for empaths is a morning ritual, routine, process, time for you each day. My personal experience and belief is the morning is the best, but finding time for you in a quiet space, in a meditative or prayerful space, whatever that means to you, is incredibly important. And here's why. Because of that concept I talked about, we want you to be on offense, not on defense. We want you to be putting the energy out into the world as opposed to absorbing it. So it's very, very important for empaths to align their energy at the start of their day in order to, and then go out into the world and amplify that. So I believe for each of us, it looks very different. A few components that I would recommend that people explore, as I said, meditation is really, really big, or prayer, whichever one or both works for you. Visualization can be incredibly powerful. Journaling is a really, really incredible tool for most empaths, because it helps you, rather than relying on the external voices, right? The other people's opinions and perceptions and beliefs being projected onto you, you're bringing it up from within. And when you have it written down on paper, it's much easier to decipher, well, what really is mine and what might be someone else's. The other component as part of a morning routine that I believe is super important, and Mel, you and I were talking about this before we got on, is movement, moving your body, right? And this can look a couple of different ways, but some recommendations on this. Music is so incredibly powerful for empaths. It touches us on a soul level, and it has an ability to shift our emotions in a way that not many other things can. Like, it is an incredible vibratory, uplifting opportunity for empaths. So I encourage moving your body with music. So dancing is a great thing to incorporate into your routine for empaths. Yes. Or like moving. So personally, I lift weights and I love that, or running, whatever it is. But one of the reasons I love strength training is because it allows us to feel strong and powerful and grounded in our physical body, to remind ourselves and to help us physically understand our energetic empowerment. So those are a few things, all part of morning routine. Another tip that I can give for empaths to help them walk in their light, that was probably all three and more in one, but I'll give you a little bit more. There's a tool that I teach empaths called pause, feel, choose. Pause, feel, choose. And what this is intended to do is help us own and choose our emotions, as opposed to being a sponge or absorber or being in a reactive place. So if you start to sense yourself taking on someone else's emotions, or because we are feelers and sensitive souls, we can tend to have energetic reactions or emotional reactions that are completely our own, but maybe isn't from a place of empowerment, right? So when you feel yourself triggered in any sort of way, energetically or emotionally, you pause and breathe, just acknowledging, okay, there's something that's brewing up from within me. I'm going to, instead of just reacting or taking on this energy, I'm going to acknowledge that. I'm going to use the breath. The breath is an amazing tool for cleansing your body, for centering your energy, for shifting your nervous system, even on a very physical level, right? So that's step number one, pause. Secondly, feel. One of the things that I've learned on my journey and have witnessed in a lot of empaths is we're taking on emotions and we're feeling things. And for me, this was a level of anxiety that like lived in like a ball of energy in my gut, like in my belly all the time. It was like this turning feeling, this uneasy, queasy kind of feeling. And it was literally a ball of energy and emotions that I had never sorted through, that I just kept stuffing down and storing in energetically. And when I learned Reiki and started doing chakra meditation, I slowly started to unpack that. My point with sharing that is naming the emotion that you're feeling. When you sense that you're moving into a reactive space, okay, what am I feeling? And then the third part of that is choose. Just because you're feeling something does not mean you have to respond from that space. So when we do the pause, when we feel and acknowledge the emotion, respect, not judge the emotion, whatever it is, and then we can choose, okay, here's the key question. You get nothing else from this. The key question is, how do I want to feel? right? You get to choose how you want to feel. Energy is energy, right? So even our negative emotions, even the energy that we're taking on from other people can be transformed. It can be amplified, and internal magic can take place to take something that was felt negative and turn it into a positive, right? So let's say, I don't know, this is one that comes up a lot, right? You're on social media and you're scrolling and something triggers you and it's like almost an envious or jealous feeling, right? What could that be transformed into? It could be transformed into, wow, love. This person is amazing. I want to send them some love. They're inspiring, inspiration. So that's just one example of how you can take an emotion and through something like Pause, Feel, Choose, transform it into a more empowering space. So that's another tool. That's another tool.
Wow.
And you were asking about purpose. So I'll give you one more tool if you don't mind, and I'll keep this one short. The number one tool that I've found in terms of understanding my purpose and who I am and walking in my light has been wholeheartedly astrology. It has spoken to me on my journey on a vibrational soul level in a way that I just, it's beyond what words can express, right? And when you go deep and you start to understand your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, those are the three primary signatures, but there's other elements of our chart as well, and start to integrate that into your being, suddenly the conditioning and the people pleasing begins to fade away because you become much more clear on who you are on a soul level. So those would be my three: the morning routine, using Pause, Feel, Choose to align your emotions, and third would be astrology. My three tools for empaths.
Thank you so much for sharing them. I want to write them all and just take the time. Thank you so much. I feel like we need to be very, very, very aware of ourselves, of our emotion, and as you said, to pause. And I know that for so many people, and especially in our society these days, we are very hyperactive. We tend to do a lot of things, multitasking. We never really stop. Sometimes maybe because we are afraid to stop. We are afraid to stop because we're afraid to be alone with ourselves and suddenly discover, how do we feel? Is this serving me really or not, etc., etc. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing these tools. It's really important to take the time to pause, to breathe, and to just be okay to be with you, just with yourself, and talk to yourself and have like a discussion with yourself and with your inner self and go deep, etc., etc. You were talking about visualization in the morning routine. Is it the same as manifestation?
I would say yes. I would say visualization is a component, a key part of manifestation. And I truly believe a powerful tool that we can use in manifesting, right? Because we are literally creating our reality. And so essentially, what is visualization as part of a morning routine? What are we doing? We are pre-creating the way that we want our day to go. So when you can visually, and I've done this, for big presentations and competitions and, different things, even like big meetings, client meetings, launches, whatever it is, like when you can sit yourself into that space of visualizing the day going so well, but more importantly, here's the most important part about the visualization. The details can be super fun, but the most important part is to put yourself in the energy and emotion and vibration of how you need to feel in order to be the creator of your day. So that's where even the Pause, Feel, Choose, right? You're going to choose the emotion. I choose my primary emotion that I choose to feel and choose to walk in daily. My number one value is love. Okay, so daily in the morning, I'm visualizing, okay, I'm putting myself into a vibration of love. What would it look like to walk forward in this day in this vibration of love? But most importantly, how does that feel in my body? And can I anchor that in? So, I mean, yes, I think visualization is an important component of being a manifester and a creator in our lives, 100%.
Okay. Okay, that's great. You were talking about love, and I forgot to ask you this question before when we were talking about empath. How does love look like for an empath? Because I feel like it can be like too much. Sometimes you can feel like you have too much love to give. You're like feeling like full, so much full of love, and you want to give it all. And maybe people around don't feel the same way and will feel that you're giving too much, or why is this person too much? too much. Yeah, this is the word that I want to use. Sometimes we can feel that we are too much for others.
Yes, I feel that. I'm like nodding my head, being like, yes, I feel that, because that's been something that's been a big part of my journey. Too much in a lot of different ways, with the amount of love that I feel within and want to give, that being one way. And in romantic relationships, that can, in particular, right, that can be a scary thing for an empath, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. Where we have to go with that is to recognize it is such a gift. It is such a gift. Just because someone's not ready to receive your love doesn't mean that you're too much. It simply means that that person is not in a place of being ready to receive at the level at which you are capable and blessed to be able to give. So it's not about, right? It's not about everyone being willing to and ready to accept the love. It's about us, again, being on offense, you walking in your light, being authentically you, and finding healthy spaces in order to share that love with the world. So, a lot of empaths, this is where I come back to purpose, right? It's beautiful when we can find relationships that are ready and to fully receive our love, but it's not always at all times in our lives. The outlet's not always a human relationship. I think ideally for us, that's beautiful when it happens that way. But just because we haven't found the perfect partner doesn't mean we should retract that love. It means, where else can I find to give and receive love? Because as empaths, we also have to remember that we too deserve love. We deserve so much love, and we need love, right? All of us do. So animals are a great way for empaths to connect. Artistic pursuits, having a purpose, clients, just being out in nature, doing anything you love that lights you up, friendships, family, children, whatever it is, are other opportunities for love. And when you have multiple meaningful outlets for your love, then it doesn't feel like it's too much. And then you can walk in your light and not depend on any single person or people to be ready to receive. Because that's the important thing, is to remember your level of love and sensitivity and your depth and your desire to give is a beautiful gift. And we can't dim our light. This world needs all that love that we have to give right now more than ever.
Wow. Okay. So we have to give love as much as we receive love. That's the end of the story.
And be willing to receive as much as we give too. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. It can be hard. It can be tough sometimes, but everything resonates with me. I feel like you're feeling so many things around you, around people, and I guess that your awareness and the fact that you're so open today made you realize all of these things. Is it also the way that you discovered astrology? I think you're doing astrology, Reiki, all these spiritual practices.
Yeah, it really was. So I began on a spiritual journey probably in about 2016. And at first I was just on this pursuit of kind of being the best me. And I was doing fitness competitions, and I was like, what can I do to get better? And so that opened up the world of meditation. And meditation unlocked the emotional piece. I didn't realize I was a sensitive person. I wasn't really what I would have considered like a feeler. I did, but it's like I kind of just like stuffed things down because I wanted to be a strong woman. I was, in this corporate world, climbing the ladder. Like I've always just been an achiever, and I still am, but there was a lot of emotions that that were in my unconscious, but not in my conscious reality. So during this time, I started meditating, and during my very first meditation, so I went through transcendental meditation, and when I went through my my training and my very first session with a mentor, I went through the meditation and I got done. And I didn't really feel anything in the meditation. It was kind of a flat experience. Like I thought it was going to be this like spiritual, like seeing all these colors and like, transported to another reality kind of experience. And it just felt very normal. Like I was hearing things outside. I didn't think I really went very deep. Well, I got done with this meditation and I stopped, and I was having a discussion with the mentor, and she looked at me and she's like, "Are you feeling okay?" And I'm like, "Actually, I feel angry. I had these emotions, like anger was one that came up. That was not something that I was comfortable feeling or had ever even felt, I don't think, in my life. But it was like I had stuffed a lot of things down. And so suddenly the meditation piece unlocked the emotional part, and I became a feeling sensitive being. Like the empath in me was awakened, and I didn't know what to do with her at that time. Like she had always been there, but I had kind of stifled her, right? And then it was like the Band-Aid was ripped off. And so the meditation led to Reiki, and it was just literally like 2 or 3 years of a deep spiritual, very emotional journey for me. There were a lot of tears, there were a lot of emotions that I'd never had before. And because I was going through such a difficult time, I was in San Diego in the United States going through my Reiki master training, and I was with my Reiki teacher, and she had an astrology reading. And she knew that I was going through a hard time, and she mentioned it, kind of like softly recommended. And it was like, yeah, I need to do that. Like, I need to find some sense of peace and certainty in what I'm going through, but I didn't really know what I was signing up for. I knew I was an Aquarius, but that's all I knew about astrology, right? I knew my sun sign, that was it. So I went through for my first astrology session, and it was like she was speaking to me in a way that was speaking to my soul. It was like suddenly, the emotions were still there, but I felt so much more comfortable and at peace and understanding of like why I was feeling what I was feeling, why I was feeling unsettled. And so, yes, the emotional journey and dealing with the emotions, to make a long story short, did lead me to astrology. And ultimately, I think it was astrology that helped me sort through and bring me through that very deep, the deepest and most challenging part of my spiritual awakening process. So I began studying every single day, studying my chart, and slowly began to just feel more comfortable in who I was. One of the key components of the astrology chart that not a lot of people, if you're just kind of at the beginner level, which I was at the time, don't really know about is your moon sign. And your moon sign is incredibly important, in particular for empaths, and in particular for people who are feeling emotionally unsettled, because our moon sign is our emotions, it is our needs, it is the way that we self-nurture. It's kind of like how we can be a parent to ourselves, self-care, all of those sorts of things. And so I learned about my moon sign, and I learned that I have a Capricorn moon, and the way that I was living as a gypsy was not, it's in the 4th house, which is the house of the home and the family. It was not incredibly conducive to my Capricorn moon in the 4th house. And so I decided from that moment to make some big changes. And the big changes that I made ultimately led me to a place of greater emotional stability and peace and harmony and, further awakening and purpose. So yes, I forget where we started. That was a long story, but yes, astrology has ultimately really helped me to better manage my emotions.
And so now, how do you do astrology for people who come to you? Can you help them discover their moon sign? I didn't even know that we had moon signs. Like, what is it exactly?
So there are the 12 zodiac signs,
okay,
right? And then each of the planets. So you have Sun, Moon, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Mars, the entire sky, right? Essentially, the entire sky creates a map called your astrological birth chart, which I like to call a soul map. And so when we look at the placement of all these planets at the exact time of your birth, the location of your birth, it shows us a map of your individual soul's vibration and your soul's journey. And so it can tell us everything from your sun sign, which is your soul, your core vibration, your soul's journey, your moon sign I talked about, your rising sign, which is more your personality and your talents. Venus talks about, shows us about love. Mercury tells us about your mindset, the way you communicate. So there's all these different layers within the birth chart. And so what I do as an astrologer is when I get, birth information from a client, and then we'll talk about, okay, what's most important for you to learn about yourself? Because I can do a general reading, but really I find readings are most effective when the person comes with, like, this is what I need help with. This is what I'm struggling with, or this is what I need to know, because we can see multiple layers within the chart. And so that's what I do is I always bring the life coaching piece in, right? So like I said, it's fun to just do a general, like, okay, here's your reading. Here's kind of like what I see for your future, whatever. But I really like to help people make it relevant and applicable to their lives. So it's like, okay, here's what I can share with you. Now let's talk through what does this mean for how you move forward from here? How do we best help you free yourself, empower yourself, move toward the life of your dreams and your soul's path, your soul's calling? So that's what I do as an astrologer. And we can look at, things like what we call transits, right? So there's your birth chart, which is unique to you at the time of your birth. And then transits are how the energy of the current time is sort of layering or speaking with your personal vibration. And so that's where we get into, well, I've been feeling like this for a while. Why? That's what we can see when we layer in the transits with your birth chart.
Okay. So it's more about discovering yourself and understanding who you are more than reading in the future or pulling cards, etc., etc.
Yes, exactly. And we can do future stuff, but so another important thing about astrology, at least the way that I use it, is that you are the creator of your life, right? You have a specific soul vibration of your soul, but there are multiple ways in which that can be expressed, right? So for each of the zodiac signs, I'm an Aquarius. There's a high vibration Aquarian expression, and there's a lower vibration Aquarian expression. And there's multiple ways that we have free will, or we can express our personality. Some are more true and more authentic to who we really are than others, right? And so I believe we are creating our future. So there are transits, there's energy that can create certain things that we might come into contact with, or certain energetic either challenges or harmonious times in life. But there are multiple ways in which you can move through that in the choices that you make by consciously. So that's one way that I think we can use astrology as a tool. It helps us be a conscious creator by working with the energy, by flowing with the universe, rather than attempting to fight against it.
Okay. So do you think that we can, by shifting our energies, we can just change our future, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We can create our future. Yes. I mean, lately I've been just tuning into this concept of, wow, how powerful my thoughts are, and simply creating the experience that I'm having, right? Like I've literally had experiences where I had this feeling where I think things might go in this direction. Ooh, that wouldn't be what I wanted. I'm going to intentionally recreate my thoughts, and I'm going to intentionally create a different outcome. And it's happened, y'all. Like we are way more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. Our emotions, our energy, our thoughts, they are vibration. And that is what we live in, a vibrational universe. We are literally creating things as they go along. So certainly the universe has certain vibrations that we can't change, but we can change how our vibration interacts with those and creates what we feel internally and what we see materially show up in our lives.
Okay. Wow. It's if I can share just a quick personal story here, because it resonates really with me what you're saying. So when you become aware, lately I became very, very aware about my energy, my feelings, etc., etc. And I started to feel and see differently the world. So I started to, sometimes I think about someone and suddenly I receive a text from that person. I talk about someone and suddenly this person is in front of me. All these kind of things. So I don't know if it's because I'm suddenly being aware, or if I am manifesting these people in my life because of the energy and the frequency that I'm vibrating on. So sometimes I feel even scared about that, because I feel like, oh, wow, because I believe in that as well. And I think you need to believe in that to also see all of this. But I'm like, wow, how can I just play with these energies, my energies, to take the lead on them, and not for them to lead me and lead my life and manifest everything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. So I was actually just talking to a friend about this in the last couple of days. So there's a couple of different ways. So we were talking earlier about manifesting, right? And sometimes I think we get super tied to the physical. I want to manifest X. So that would be, a very kind of material approach to manifesting. I believe there is an even more powerful vibrational approach to manifesting and to working with the energy. And it comes back to something we talked about earlier. And that is, rather than focusing on the specific thing that you want to create, it's got to look just like this. How can you focus on the energy that you want to feel, the vibration that you want to be in? So for me, love. right? How do I walk in a space of love? And it's almost like when we walk in that space of love, we're manifesting slowly things that are in alignment, opportunities, people, everything is going to be in alignment with that vibration. So it's like, it's great when we focus on a specific thing and we want to manifest that. I truly believe that's possible, but I think we would be just as happy, just as fulfilled to focus on an energy, emotion, vibration, and allow that to carry us forward into creating even more of that in our lives and letting the universe surprise us. I'm one of these people, like I love to manifest. I love to set my heart on things, but more recently I've been tuning into this idea of, wow, maybe the universe, and when I look back at my life, the universe has shown up sometimes with better answers than I would have come up with on my own, right? Like I never would have imagined if you would have asked me 10 years ago when I was going through my divorce, if I would have someday like been a life coach who had traveled around the world, be living in Atlanta, Georgia, sitting on a podcast, talking to this amazing woman who's living in Australia. Like I never would have imagined any of that. None of that. Like I couldn't have come up with that. I couldn't have written this better myself. But it's like, wow, when you focus on a vibration and focus on a path of growth and your values are aligned, the universe shows up and like fills in the blanks better than we ever could ourselves. The universe is like way more abundant and creative and amazing than probably we are. Although I don't want to undersell how amazing and creative we are as well. We can come up with some pretty big visions and I believe we can make them possible. But I do believe that being a co-creator with the universe is the most powerful place to be in terms of manifesting.
Okay. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Kesley. Now you know your purpose, you know what you're doing, you know who you are, etc. But I guess you still have times where you have like questions, right? You still have time where you're lost and
absolutely, or doubt.
Yeah.
Or doubt, right? In this concept of knowing my purpose. So I always like to say purpose is a process or purpose is a journey, because my purpose is always evolving. My values, my top value, like I say, love. That is something I do feel confident in. I connect with guides and the Akashic Records is a tool that I like to use, and it always comes in like your main purpose is to walk in a vibration of love. Like that I'm clear on. But how that's expressed, the different modalities, the different types of like the different things that I do, the actions might show up differently. So it is although I do have a sense of purpose, it's not like I know this is exactly what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, and I'm also learning to release some of that control. Like I talked about in the manifesting, like I have these ideas, like I want to write a book and I want to do this and I want to do that. And it's like set in stone, but it's like, no, ultimately what I want to manifest is a life where I'm walking in a vibration of love and abundance is flowing in and I'm able to help other people see possibilities and walk in love and find abundance for themselves and empowerment and all those sorts of things. So it's like being less attached to the specifics and more clear on what is the value and how do we find our top value? What is most important for you to be or feel? Okay. Starting to tune into that. What is most important for you to be or feel? Where was I going with that with purpose? Oh, and then the self-doubt piece, there's a particular astrology transit right now. So my ruling planet, so we each have a ruling planet, which is the planet that rules our rising sign. So mine is Venus. Venus is in retrograde right now. And I knew going into this time, this is how astrology can help us, that there may be things that might shake me or trigger my insecurities or things like that more than normal, right? Okay. So I'm consciously moving through a space where I know there are things, the universe is helping me to rise above that. But there are things that are like coming up right now where I'm like, oh, okay, that's something I still need to work through. That's something I'm working on. Thank you, universe. Thank you, universe. And that's another great way that we can deal with emotions or insecurities is when we acknowledge it, saying like, thank you, universe. You're giving me an opportunity to transform this. So yes, absolutely. I have moments of feeling lost, feeling uncertain, feeling unworthy, whatever it is. Those are human things. But I think what happens as we evolve, this is what I've noticed on my journey, is the time I spend in those is much less, right? Like hopefully now I'm in a place where it's blips versus, and I do believe it's possible to evolve out of those things. I'm not there yet. I still feel them, but the time that I spend in them in those lower vibration states is getting to be less and less, which is like Yes, I
Yes.
love that. Yes.
Yeah, it's true. It's a process. It's a whole thing. I totally feel that. Yeah, I can relate to all of this. I was telling you, you had so many lives before, but I think it's just because you had to live all these experiences to now being able to help all these type of different people, because any type of woman can come to you and you already know the feeling because you felt it before. Competition, fitness, divorce, everything. So yeah, I just think that you always you can feel empower and deliver yourself, release yourself and free yourself, etc. But I do think that you cannot, from my perspective, you cannot help others if you haven't had the feeling or different, like hard feeling, hard times, dark times, questions, etc.
Yeah, you're incredibly intuitive. I literally just had that conversation with my partner yesterday. We were talking about about that, right? Like just the feeling, like I truly do feel that when a woman comes to me, I'm like, wow, I've been in that position. And it gives me, number one, like, some tools to pull from, but number two, like you said, that empathy, like I can truly feel what it feels like to be in those shoes. So it's beautiful. Thank you for recognizing that.
I love all of the things that you shared. Can you just tell us how can we reach out to you if we want to work with you, if we want to empower ourselves, and what do you exactly do with people that you help?
Absolutely. So there's a few different opportunities. The way you can learn more is on my website, which is KesleyTweed.com. And then also I'm very active on Instagram, which is Iron Gypsy Life. And in terms of working together, number one, I offer life coaching for people of all backgrounds from all over the world. Essentially, I help you, guide you on your own personal journey, getting to know who you really are at the core, helping you move through challenges, helping you remember to celebrate successes, and essentially helping you fall more in love with who you are and create a life that you love. That's what I like to say in terms of the life coaching. Astrology, of course, I do individual readings. I even can do couples readings. I do corporate sessions for team building. So there's a lot of opportunities there, and we would just take a look at your personal birth chart and again help you understand your unique vibration and how to walk in your magic toward whatever it is that you want to create. I do offer Reiki as well, distant Reiki, and and that's actually my favorite way to offer it is remotely. So there's a variety of sessions that way. If you've never had a Reiki session, it is the most amazing experience. Every experience is unique. Some people see visions, some people feel energy, some people feel amazing peace and release. It's again, really unique to you, but we can use it for everything from physical healing to emotional release, to manifesting, to tapping into your intuition, and so much more. So that piece. And then of course I have the Empowered Empath Collective, which is my group for women who would like to walk more confidently in their light, to find their purpose, to create even more amazing relationships. So we have, like I said, a community. We do monthly moon parties where we get together and celebrate and do meditation. We have a different soul topic each month. We incorporate astrology. There's a lot of different tools and resources that we use. You also get one-on-one coaching with that. But that is really my kind of premier or recommended program for any woman who just wants to tap more into who she is, be more confident, find purpose, learn how to manage her energy and emotions. Yeah. It's just an amazing community. I feel so blessed. And I would feel so blessed to work with any of your listeners, Mel. Your vibration is so beautiful. And I just know anyone who's listening would be an amazing gift to work with.
Thank you, Kesley. I'll share all the references in the description of the podcast, and I'm sure amazing people are coming to you, and you're making them feel even more amazing than the way they are. Just a last question before we wrap up, because you were talking about intuition, and it's a subject that I really like. Do you think that we can learn to listen to our intuition, and just like the energy, can we learn to play with it? Because sometimes we feel stuff and we don't really know what does it mean? And sometimes you don't even know what is talking to you. Like, is it your gut? Is it your mind? Is it your heart? So how do you?
Absolutely. I do believe, and a big part of me learning to trust my intuition was learning how to trust the intuition of my body. My body's wisdom. And so I do believe that that's really important. Like I said, I was into bodybuilding and fitness competitions. So I came from the world of counting macros and weighing food. And the moment I stopped doing that and began to just listen to my body, that's when life changed on every single level, including my body. I'm in a much healthier space than I've ever been before. The other thing that I would say in terms of intuition and being an empath, that is even more reason to be incredibly conscious, in particular when it comes to your food. Because all of these things that are in our food, when it's not natural, when it's got chemicals and things like that on it, that is affecting our vibration. That is affecting our ability to really tune in to our pure energy, to our true, even on an emotional level and a mental level. Like, we're probably impacted more by food than we realize. So I do believe that is incredibly important to be mindful and intentional about how we're fueling our bodies. Absolutely. I'm on board with you on that one.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much. Well, do you have any last advice that you would like to share to anyone who is trying to find their life purpose, or who is feeling a bit like maybe like an empath, like a sponge, taking and very drained by everyone else's energy? Do you have any advice that you would like to share?
Absolutely. All the answers are inside. They are really, your power is inside. What your soul's desires are inside. So I've shared a lot of tools today, but essentially it all comes back to the fact that like the magic is in you, and just learning to spend time to hear your inner voice, to ask yourself deeper questions, maybe find a coach or a mentor or someone who can help you explore those deeper spaces within yourself. That's the journey. That's the journey. And it's an inner journey. And so I just wish everyone the best of luck, and feel free. I mean, even just shoot me a DM on Instagram if you have a question, or if anything resonated with you, if I can help in any way. I would love to just be a guide and someone who can help share any wisdom that I've gained, or just some inspiration or love with anyone who needs it.
Thank you so much for sharing all this beautiful energy today, and the love. Thank you so much. I'm really happy that I've met you. Thank you, Instagram, and thank you, technology. But yeah, thank you so much for today, Kesley.
Thank you, Mel. It's been amazing. I feel just held in a space of love, even just sharing this time with you. So thank you. It's been a pleasure in every sense.
See you soon, everyone. And we hope you enjoyed the podcast.